Hello, this is Local Edition. I'm Leslie Leyton. The reason for homelessness, the reasons people are homeless are many, so it stands to reason that the solutions would be just as varied. In the city of Fullerton, they're working to come up with solutions and get people in the housing that they need. With us now is the mayor of Fullerton, Bruce Whitaker, to talk about what's going on in the city there. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Leslie, and thanks for having me. And you are correct. It's a major issue for most cities throughout Orange County, particularly in the North County.
There's a varied selection of solutions that the city is working on, some having to do with helping people who have mental disabilities, some who really are looking for permanent housing and shelters for temporary housing as well. Talk about some of the recent developments you've had. I know you broke ground on a facility that helps people with mental disabilities.
Yes, recently we broke ground on a facility that will be open about April of 2018. And this was sponsored by a community of friends. It's a 36-unit permanent supportive project intended to assist those who were formerly homeless and who have some form of mental disability or illness.
Why is it important to find someone the specific help they need? For instance, a mentally ill person, if they can get into a place where they're going to get some help and a place to stay, it seems like it saves a lot of money in terms of other resources, jails and hospitals.
You're absolutely right. And at the groundbreaking, I called attention to something that was in a community of friends materials, where they estimated that the public cost for homelessness of people of this type averages about $3,000 per year. But the estimate is that the cost to the public in this form of housing is about 1/5 that amount, about $600 per year.
So you have to spend money, but you save money in the long run, and you get people the help they actually need.
Yes, and as a taxpayer advocate, you know, a lot of money is being applied to this situation, state, federal, and local. And so for me, it's a real plus to understand that we can aid in controlling the total cost that taxpayers are going to be shouldering.
It's a very complex issue, but the city of Fullerton, working with Anaheim, Santa Ana also has a serious homelessness issue. But Fullerton and Anaheim working together with the county to open a new shelter. And how's things going there?
Yes, the new county-managed shelter on Kramer Avenue in Anaheim. It's near the border of Fullerton, Placentia, and Anaheim. And all three cities have a management agreement with the county and have contributed funds. In Fullerton's case, $500,000.
And what is it like there? Are there any restrictions or regulations or requirements for the people who are living there?
Well, that shelter should be opening soon, perhaps within a month. And the people who do have such concerns should be reminded that there will be screening involved. This is intended to be at least not permanent, but at least some significant amount of time that they'll be aided. And it'll start with about 100 beds. It has capacity up to 200 beds. But there will be screening. There will be no sex offenders or people with open warrants allowed. Megan's Law screening will be observed, and there will be security both inside and outside. So there is a very strong attempt to protect the public that surrounds this facility.
And there's even housing available for people who have, I think, a proven record of getting along well in some of the more temporary facilities to actually finding places of their own. I read a story about a woman with some young children who were able to find a place in Fullerton.
Well, yes, and we're blessed in our city, Fullerton, with so many nonprofit and church-driven and individual efforts, along with the panoply of solutions that are being provided by government agencies as well. And nearly always, if we can find the right fit, we can fairly efficiently mainstream people, and that really is the goal. The goal is to create a reduction in the overall homeless.
The county and cities paying attention, working together now in hopes of finding some solutions here. You know, switching subjects, you said you just came from a meeting having to do with water. It seems we've gone from too little to too much, and we'd like to find just right on this. What are some of the solutions as far as storage and building up our infrastructure to protect ourselves with dams and things?
Well, it's a great topic, and we are very fortunate this year to have a high in our rainy season. Last year was just under 6 inches for us locally. This year the projection is it'll be around 20 inches. And so we have this opportunity to try to retain some of that free, fresh water that we've been blessed with.
Mm-hmm. This is the time to discuss this. Now, who were you meeting with?
I'm recently reappointed to the Orange County Water District Board, which is the groundwater regulator for 2/3 of Orange County, the northern 2/3, and we regulate the water basin, the aquifer, which underlies that territory. And almost all the cities are very dependent, at least 3/4 dependent on pumped water out of the aquifer for their primary water supplies.
Mm-hmm. So now we have this great bounty of lots of water and not any storage, so it's going out to sea.
Yeah, the big issue is surface storage, and we all saw on television recently the Oroville Dam and the potential disaster that occurred there. Well, they couldn't release water fast enough without creating damage. The State Water Project, which brings water down for distribution in Southern California, similarly, the capacity has been constricted in recent years. So there's a big push now to have MWD and other agencies increase surface storage.
Mm-hmm. And to be thoughtful of this, Huntington Beach, parts of Huntington Beach and the Santa Ana River, the Anaheim River, it could potentially be a problem for a lot of people in flooding in the future.
Well, it was pointed out today that Oroville, which is a huge facility, was created with 3 primary concerns in mind. One was flood control, one was water supply, and the other was recreational possibilities. So it is, again, we're blessed in the state with certain areas which have abundant rainfall, and we need to find efficient ways of transporting that water to where it can do the most good.
Yeah, good to think about it, do something about it too. Okay. In North Orange County recently, there has been an increase in property crimes, and it's a message that the folks want to get out because there are some things you can do to protect yourself and to be aware.
I'm getting questions from the public at my forums, at my talk around town that I do, and I'm hearing anecdotal information. Unfortunately, most crime statistics tend to lag by a year or two, but right now in the near term, people need to do what they can to secure their own possessions and their own properties. I'm getting anecdotal information of very sophisticated efforts to do break-ins, even daytime or afternoon break-ins, and with reports that even high security safes are being cracked in a matter of 10 minutes.
That is not very encouraging. So what are some of the tips for protecting yourself?
Well, you know, the old neighborhood watch idea is a great one, and on the internet there is Nextdoor application, which many people do to share information, and I find often that resident-to-resident communication yields the best result, even more than when we try to supply the information top-down. But then beyond that, electronics now are so inexpensive. The ability to have a camera that will also alert you on your iPhone when you're away from home if there's a security issue. And there are security lights with motion detectors. There are so many things that the average homeowner can afford to secure their own property.
And just awareness, thinking about it right now and talking about it, and just for all of us to be, a little more thoughtful.
And that awareness even includes locking your car door and locking your doors at home. We are in an urban area and that needs to happen. So many of the break-ins are people going around with opportunity of opening cars.
Don't need to make it easy.
Right.
That's tip number 1. Bruce Whitaker, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Leslie.
Glad you could join us too. I'm Leslie Leyton.